A cold wind brushed against the cracked windows of Miller's diner as the pale sun fought its way through heavy gray clouds. It was the kind of morning that made the world feel muted, quiet, colorless, and tired. Inside, the air smelled of burnt coffee, buttered toast, and yesterday's rain. In the farthest booth by the window, the one nobody chose unless they had nowhere else to go, sat an elderly woman. She came every morning, always alone, always silent, wearing the same long black coat and a silver feather brooch that caught the dim light. Her name was Eleanor Hayes. And in her eyes, she carried the kind of sadness that comes from having loved deeply and lost everything without warning. Across the room, a young waitress named Mara Weaver noticed her just as she did every morning. Mara was only 20, juggling double shifts and dreams she could barely afford. Life had taken more than it gave her, her parents, her childhood, her peace, but it hadn't taken her heart. Somehow, she still smiled, still believed that people could be good. Mara wasn't working just for a paycheck. She was searching for a reason to keep believing in kindness. Every morning, she'd see Eleanor counting coins for tea and dry toast, her hands trembling with years of unseen pain. Most customers looked away. Some pitied her. No one spoke, except Mara. Quietly, she began helping little acts no one noticed. She'd serve warm toast instead of cold, refill her tea without charging, slip an extra muffin on the plate and say it was a special offer. Eleanor always protested gently, but Mara's smile ended the argument every time, and day by day, something beautiful began to grow between them, an unspoken friendship. Mara learned Eleanor once lived near the ocean and loved reading by Lamplight. Eleanor learned Mara had no family, no car, and barely enough to live on, yet she still believed kindness always comes back someday. But Eleanor never spoke about her past. It was as if she had locked away whole chapters of her life. Then, one cold morning, Mara noticed Eleanor's red eyes. She had been crying. When asked what was wrong, Eleanor whispered she had nowhere to live. Her apartment was gone. That night, she said, she'd sleep in a bus station. Mara didn't hesitate. She took Eleanor home, not to a shelter, not to the street, but to her own tiny apartment. She gave up her bed, slept on the couch, shared her food, washed Eleanor's clothes, and spent her evenings helping her find help. Eleanor cried often. "Why are you doing this?" she'd asked. Mara simply smiled and said, "Because no one helped me when I needed it, but I always believed someone would." 1 week later, Eleanor disappeared. Her bed was neatly made. On the pillow lay a note. "Thank you for giving me back hope, Eleanor." No address, no goodbye, just silence. Days turned into weeks. Then, one slow Tuesday morning, black SUVs stopped outside the diner. Men in suits entered, scanning the room. The chatter died. "Is there a Mara Weaver here?" one of them asked. Mara froze. "That's me," she said softly. "You need to come with us, Miss Weaver." Fear twisted inside her, but she followed. Minutes later, they pulled up to a massive mansion, the kind of place that looked like it belonged in another world. Inside, soft piano music echoed through marble halls. And there, sitting in a room filled with sunlight and flowers, was Eleanor Hayes. Not the frail woman from the diner, but a graceful lady in a lavender dress, her eyes shining. "Hello, dear," she said with a smile that stopped time. Eleanor explained everything. She wasn't homeless. She was the heir to Hayes International, one of the country's largest investment firms. 2 years ago, she'd lost her husband and only son in a tragic accident. Broken by grief, she vanished, leaving behind her fortune and her name. She wanted to know if true kindness still existed, if love without conditions could still be found. And then she met Mara, a woman who gave everything she had, without knowing who Eleanor really was. With tears in her eyes, Eleanor took Mara's hands and said, "I don't need a nurse or a maid. I need a heart I can trust. I want you by my side, not as an employee, but as family. Everything I have, one day will be yours. Not because of blood, but because of love." Mara wept. After years of loneliness, she had found something greater than wealth, a bond born from kindness. They embraced two souls who had found each other in a world that too often forgets how to care. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to purehubkindness. Share it with someone who still believes in good hearts and second chances. Because sometimes, one simple act of kindness can turn a stranger into family and remind the world that love is never truly lost.